Hey everybody, welcome out to another episode of Balled Up Genetics. My name is Lloyd, and if you like reptiles, then this channel is for you. On today's episode, just like the thumbnail shows, we're going to be talking first aid for your reptiles. So what I've decided is I want to start a series of videos going over some just basic care for your reptile before you get them off to a veterinarian. This first video is going to start this series out, and we'll see where it goes. So let's get started. Okay guys, so today on this video what I want to talk about when it comes to first aid for your reptiles is first and foremost, find a reputable reptile veterinarian. Do your research, find one that's been doing it for a few years, see what their ratings are, see how reputable they are with other clients that they've worked with. But definitely find one in your area. And anytime your reptile gets sick, take it to them, okay? That's the first thing, take it to them. As time goes by, as years go by, more experience you have, there's a few things that you can work with your vet, and you can take care of stuff at your house with your vet helping you out. And one of those things is giving shots. Sometimes they prescribe a series of shots, antibiotics or steroids or something else, and you're going to be the one giving them to them. So today we're going to go over giving shots to your reptiles. But I also wanted to go over too, you should really have in your house, just like you guys, just like everybody should have a first aid kit in their house for yourself, and typically you have band-aids and some triple antibiotic ointment and things like that in there. You should have one also really set aside for your reptiles. You never know when, like if you have an iguana or other species of lizard, they might rip out a toenail and it's going to start to bleed, and you need to be able to stop it with some gauze that you might have in one of your kits. Or they might have a bite wound or a scrape wound that you need to kind of doctor up a little bit. In a few moments I'm going to show you I'm going to go over my kit. Now, I am not a veterinarian. I do have a degree in veterinary science from years ago. I was a vet tech for a while. I've been working with exotic animals in zoo situations for over 20 years. So I've seen a lot and I've dealt with a lot. So there's a lot that I can do before I get them to the vets, or I can call up my vet. We can talk about it, and then I can do some of the things at my house and I don't have to bring them in. So I have a lot more in my first aid kit for animals than you guys will, but just something basic for you guys to be able to have around the house for them is going to help out. But again, do your research and go find a reputable veterinarian who deals with reptiles. All right, so mine is actually in a tackle box since I have so much stuff in it. There's a lot of different things that I use. I have syringes, needles, different needle sizes. I have ointments for either triple antibiotic ointment or liquid drops I can put in eyes, tweezers, forceps. I even have scalpels in here. I have a scalpel and the blades. So there's a lot in this kit. I can go through it and we'd spend a half hour here just going through it, but this is the kit that I use. There's a lot that I have done with my reptiles over the years. And it's just because of the experience that I have. If it's something that's very severe, I'm of course going to take them right into my local vet that I've dealt with. But if it's something that I can do here at the house, I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And there's, like I said, there's a lot that I can do just because I have hands-on experience. But again, for you guys, something happens with your reptile, please get them into your local vet as soon as possible, because remember, reptiles don't really show signs of illness until it's almost too late. So today we're going to be talking about giving injections to your reptiles, be it a snake, a lizard, a tortoise. Uh, Typically, there are 3 different terms that we use when giving injections. One is called IM, which is intramuscular. One is called IV, which is intravenous. And one is also called sub-Q or subcutaneous. Typically, when you're getting your prescriptions from the vet, you're going to either give intramuscular IM or you're going to give sub-Q subcutaneous. Sub-Q, again, is just going up underneath the skin. You're not going into the muscle, and then you're giving that medication. A lot of times too, it's mostly for hydrations. You're doing hydrations. Intramuscular or IMs are where you're going to go and give it to them in the muscle group and dissipate that medication throughout the body of that animal. You know, there are different sizes of syringes you're going to get, how much you're going to do. They come in all different sizes. Same with needles. Needles come in different colors that represent the size of the needle. All that should be given to you from your vet when you're going to do that. So when giving injections to your animals, there's a couple things you want to consider first. One is how to restrain the animal. It's always good to do it with another person. So a 2-person job when giving injections to, be it especially a lizard, a tortoise that you have to restrain, and then a snake. And there's some tricks to each one of these when you want to do it. The second thing is you want to make sure that you disinfect the area that you're going to be giving the injection site. So you want to take some alcohol pad and wipe it down just like you would when you're getting an injection. And then 3 is how you're giving that. So for instance, on a snake, typically you want to give an injection in the first third of the body from the head. So down from the head, the first third of the body is where you want to give it. You want to go on the side of the spine. So the spine is straight down the center, either to the left or the right of that, where that muscle group is. And then you want to go in between the scales. It's very important. You don't want to push that needle through a scale. You want to get it up underneath the scale or in between the scales. In restraining a snake, the second person can do it a couple of ways. They can either hold the snake, hold close to its head, because again, you're going to be injecting it with a needle. It's not going to like that. So you need to make sure you control the head so you're not going to get bit. Even though it's a nice snake, again, they're not going to want a needle going into them. Or you can put their head in a like a pillowcase. So that's going to calm them down, and you can secure their body that way. So when you have your syringe, you have your needle on your syringe, you have it drawn up to where you want to always give with bevel up. So here's a photo right here. It's the opening of the needle, and you want to give that up. You want to always have the bevel up when giving an injection. So as you're going in through these scales and you're coming in this way, especially on this snake, since his scales are going this way, you want to come in the opposite way to get underneath him. You want that bevel up and go in. Now when you're giving an injection and you go in intramuscular, IM, what you want to do once you go in, you want to pull back on the plunger a little bit because you want to make sure you're not in a vein, okay? So you're just going to pull back a little bit. If you don't see any blood, you're good. And then you slowly push that plunger in and get all that medication in there. If you happen to hit a vein, so when you pull back on that plunger and you see a little bit of blood coming in, just pull the needle out a little bit and you'll come out of that vein and then go right back. So don't take it all the way out. Don't take the needle all the way out. Just pull out a little bit. You'll come out of that vein. Pull back on the plunger again to see, and then push the rest of that medication inside. And that has to do with if you're giving it to a lizard, any lizard species or any tortoise species, that's what you're going to want to do. So again, in a lot of cases, you're going to have to give shots to some of your animals. You're not going to want to go into the vet every single time to give injections. It's just going to cost too much, and most of the time, vets are going to show you how to give injections, and you can go ahead and do that in your home. It's going to be a series of shots over several days. And then you'll, of course, take your animal back in to have it looked at again with your vet to see how well it's doing. That's just a couple of the little things that you're going to have to be aware of when giving first aid to your animals. Then, if it's a lizard, what you want to do if you if you have a lizard, definitely use 2 people. Restrain them and be able to give injections to. Now with the lizard, it's a little bit easier. You can give in legs, you can give along the back, just where the muscles are. Typically though, it's going to be in the legs, the front or the back. Again, you're going to clean the site with alcohol, bevel up, and in between the scales. And give that injection again when you're going intermuscular. When it goes in, pull back on the plunger, make sure there's no blood going into it, and then slowly, steadily press that medication into them. If you're doing sub-Q, you're just going to go in up under you're going to push in the needle between the scales, just up underneath the skin. So you kind of push up a little bit, and then you'll see it starting to bulge, make this little pocket of the fluid that's going in, and then it'll start to go in. With lizards, be it green iguana, a monitor lizard, a blue-tongued skink, whatever it is, use 2 people to help. The first person is going to restrain, the second person is going to give the injection site too. Again, with lizards, you can give the upper part of the body, lower part of the body, just in a muscular system. If it's IM, if it's sub-Q, usually along the back. The other thing is too, is you want to alternate when you're giving injections. So the next time you give an injection, let's say I gave it in this leg, I'm not going to do it in this leg, I'm going to do it in the opposite leg. If I did it up here, I'm going to go to the opposite side and give it on the opposite side. So you want to alternate where you're giving your injections, so it's not going in that same injection site all the time, because over time that's going to cause it to get real sore for that animal. Oh, by the way, this is Dave, everybody. I think this is his first time, maybe his second time on camera. So this is Dave, and he's like right now going, what's going on? So when giving injections to a tortoise, there comes some difficulty with that. With tortoises, you want to give injections in the upper part of the body. You don't want to give injections in the back along the legs, because tortoises have this ability to really filter out any kind of medications very quickly through their kidneys and their liver. So you want to put it in the front so it kind of works its way through the back. Now with them, what you're going to want to typically do is in the leg, just behind the leg over here. As you can see, some of these guys, there is going to be a battle trying to pull a leg out a little bit so you can get a syringe and needle in right there and give to them. Again though, it depends on how sick they are. If they're real sick, it's going to be kind of easy, and as they start to regain their strength again, or maybe they weren't that sick and they're still pretty strong, you're going to have to pull a leg out and try and give an injection anywhere in the soft tissue area that you can find behind the leg. Typically will do. With a bigger tortoise comes more complications. If you're having to deal with a 100-pound tortoise like this one, working with somebody who's big like this, you're going to want to suspend them up on either like a barrel, a chair if you can, something that is going to get them to where they're going to put their legs down, and you can come in here and give an injection in the front of their leg, even between the neck and their leg, or into their neck if you need to. You can give sub-Q fluids along the neck also. But somebody this big, you need to get them up off the ground so these big legs will come out, and it'll be easier to either pull on them or work with them when you're doing injections. So definitely have 2 people when working with somebody this big. As you saw with that bigger guy, there's a little bit more steps you have to do with somebody that's like 50 pounds, 100 pounds or more. When you get up into your like Galapagos tortoise and your Aldabra tortoise, it actually gets a little easier to give them injections. With the smaller ones, it's pretty difficult, and especially with like any kind of box turtle, hingeback that really can draw in really well and close in. Again, you want to do for a tortoise, you want to do in the upper part of the body, not the back, because they can filter that medication out very quickly if you do it through the back. Put it in the front so it works its way through. That's it for our video. Just real quick, couple little explanation on some of the first aid tips we just started out on in these videos series with. going over different techniques for giving injections, the terminology for injections. Stay tuned for the next few episodes coming out where we go more on like cleaning up wounds and maybe burns and bites and things like that. But I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you had, please subscribe down below. Turn on that post notification bell so every time we upload a video you'll be informed. Again, share these videos on your social media platforms. It helps this channel grow even more. And until the next video, take care, and we'll see you again real soon. Today we're going to be talking about giving injections to so today we're going to be talking. So many pockets. I'm caught. Oh no. Let me out.